Looking for cool toys like the ones seen in this review? You can shop thousands of action figures, statues, busts, replicas, costumes, graphic novels, and much more at Big Bad Toy Store. Just click the link in the description below this video. I think it's safe to say that at this point, being a big fan of Mega Man, I absolutely adore the D-Arts Mega Man X action figures from Bandai and Tamashii Nations. But one of the things that I always say is that we need more villains. The Mega Man X figures are cool, yes, and it's awesome getting different variations of X himself, but I always talk about how there is such a great pool of robot masters and villains that it just doesn't make sense to me why we haven't been given plastic versions of these characters. Well, we still haven't quite gotten to the point of getting robot masters in action figure form. One thing that Tamashii Nations and Bandai have given us is the main villain from the X games in plastic form. That's right, Figuarts Zero has given us Sigma. Now, the Figuarts Zero line is actually a non-articulated line of plastic figures. Zero basically stands for zero articulation. But the thing that's really cool about these little plastic statues is that they are designed and painted and even scaled to fit in perfectly with the Figuarts and D-Arts figures, which means we get a Sigma that is perfect for display with our D-Arts Mega Man X. Alright, so let's go ahead and start things off by taking a look at Sigma inside of the box. As you can see, the Figuarts Zero figure comes in this window box packaging that fully showcases Sigma on the inside. And the bottom of it gives us a nice close-up photograph of the Sigma figure's head. Flipping that around to the back side of the packaging, you get yourself a nice little sneak peek at just how cool this Sigma statue displays with your Mega Man X D-Arts figures. So let's stop staring at that box and go ahead and pull Sigma out of it so we can take a look at him up close ourselves. Now the great thing about this particular little statue here is that there is no assembly required. He is already put together, and since there's no articulation, he is all ready for display right outside of the box. Now he does include this cool little figure stand, which is going to help keep him up on his feet, so you definitely are going to want to use this. It's just a nice translucent blue, and it does have pegs that are perfectly matched for Sigma's feet. You can just snap him right onto that base there, and it holds nice and tight, and then he's ready to be placed on your display shelf. Now the sculpt and design of the Sigma Figuarts Zero statue is very nicely done. Just like Tamashii Nations has done with all of the D-Arts figures, they did a great job of capturing the likeness of this character as if he came right out of the artwork for the video games. You can see there is a beautiful paint job on that sculpt as well. Lots of great metallics in the paint that really make his armor stand out, such as the nice silver on his shoulder pads, the green on his chest, and even all the way down to the spikes on his boots. All of that is also rounded out by some nice flat paint seen in the pants, and even kind of this pearlized shine on the white that's in his abdomen armor. All of the paint is nice and clean and very bright and vibrant, and does a great job of making this display piece look like something special. It's really fun just looking over this figure to see all the little intricacies that they've added on to make this guy extra detailed. You can see hanging off his belt is his saber. His eyes are painted with a metallic blue, so they almost shine with evil right above that grin. And you can see all of the great shading details, especially when flipping him around to the backside on that red cape there. There was a lot of great shading that really brings all the wrinkles and folds out to make it look very realistic. Sigma is standing in a very confident pose, ready for X to bring on a battle. You can see he's got his right fist kind of raised, almost as if he's flinging his cape backwards, and then he's got that very cunning grin on his face. Now, I mentioned that even though this is a non-articulated figure, he's still perfectly in scale with your D-Arts Mega Man X figures. This guy here stands at 8 inches tall from the bottom of his foot to the top of his head. And if you measure all the way up to the pinpoint of his cape there, it's 10 inches tall. Now, the Mega Man X D-Arts figures like X and Zero stand roughly around 5 inches tall, which puts Sigma a full 3 inches taller than them, which is exactly as he appeared in the games when he did tower over X himself. So that looks incredibly cool when you pair this guy up with your X D-Arts figure or even Zero there to create some awesome battle scenes on your display shelf. Now, while I do wish this guy was articulated because I do prefer action figures over statues, I'm thankful that we at least were given a Sigma to display in this collection. I can imagine that with his sheer scale that it would have been a lot more expensive to get a fully articulated version of this particular character. So giving it to us in statue form is a fair compromise, and at least we now have a major villain that we can put on our shelves for X and Zero to do battle with.